All right, Scott Squad, we're back in the building. And as you guys can see, we have the beautiful Dr. Alicia from Married to Medicine. All right, so let me just give them the little teaser that I kind of gave to you just a minute ago. All right,
Okay.
so I was on vacation during the reunion episodes. And so I had to make it my like mission to catch up on the last two because I wanted to see what happened, how everything played out because this was a tumultuous season.
Yes.
Make the reunion look fun. I don't know how y'all do that. So, I was curious because I did feel, and there was a lot of talk, I think, especially towards the beginning of the season, about like how weren't really getting to hear your voice. And so I wanted to say, like, I want to get to know Dr. Alicia for myself, and I want my community to know you as well. So can you give us like how did you even come into this show?
Well, I have to give you a little bit of background. I was originally casted for the DC franchise about 3 years ago. So that's when I initially met all of the ladies when they came to DC. And then we had our little sizzle taping to have our own franchise after that. But obviously that didn't go forward for whatever reasons, I don't know. I think Bravo just didn't really have the appetite for it. And so that started my relationship with the ladies. And then my husband and I, for a long time, as you know, I'm originally from Birmingham, and my husband's family lives in Atlanta. Part of his family, his brother, and so it's been a long-term goal of ours to make it back south, or for me to make it back south, and me to bring my husband to the south. And so Atlanta has always been the goal. And so we just reached a point after having our second child, after having our son, that we really felt that we really need to be closer to family. And then obviously this opportunity came about as well. So it was a win-win.
So it kind of worked in tandem, and it was because I think there was some talk about you moving there specifically for the show.
Yeah, I know Heavenly put it out there like that, but it's important. That's what she gets for speaking on someone else's behalf. Let me tell my story. So, yes, as I just said, it's been a goal of my husband and I to move closer to family. My family's in Birmingham, his family is in North Atlanta. And so it was advantageous for us to now move to Atlanta to be closer to both sides of our family, especially after having that second child.
It makes sense. The reason I left Miami was obviously to be closer to family as well. So I
Absolutely.
I totally get it. You know, especially as family is getting older, and then you have young children too. So you kind of want to be able to bridge that gap. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Absolutely. That was at the forefront of my thoughts. You know, my mom is getting older, and so it's important for her to spend time with her grandkids. And also, our children can spend time with their cousins, and it's so
Mhm.
important. I mean, we were always in Atlanta for the holidays prior to moving here. And so just seeing that interaction just like really warms our heart. And so we really wanted them to be closer to their cousins.
Okay, okay. Is there anybody that you would have brought with you from the Married to Medicine DC like sizzle if you could?
All of the ladies, to be honest.
Really?
Yes,
I'm
this
mad
was
they didn't do. I'm really mad they didn't do it.
we had a really, really, really good group. A really good group. I didn't really get a concrete answer on that. If my idea is that they really had to see the Atlanta franchise get past that 10th season, and then
Mhm.
maybe now they'll be open to breaking off into other franchises again. They had the LA, and that didn't really go so well, and they also had the Houston. So I think it was important for them to like really focus on Atlanta, and then really make sure they need to be open to having that additional franchise and make sure Atlanta was doing good first.
And y'all definitely brought it. This well, first of all, let me say this: I've been a Married to Medicine fan since minute one, season one. So 10 years in, and I'm like, everybody, y'all just catching up to this. So for me, I think it would
Absolutely.
have been a great idea. But I do understand what you're saying about them wanting to make sure that Married to Medicine, I think, is finally getting the recognition that it so
Absolutely.
rightly deserves. And that is really a testament to you all in concert, making the show what it is.
Absolutely. But I certainly would
Um,
love to see a DC franchise. I mean, you have Howard, the highest producer of Black doctors. It's like, it's the capital. Like, you have to have it in DC. So I would love to see. Absolutely.
and if I'm correct, you were actually on the season that they came to DC. I
Right. That's
remember,
what
I remember
I.
seeing you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. My hair is
Oh,
different.
yes, I remember. I recall. I
I,
was like,
yes,
I was putting the pieces together back in the day.
yes. I
Um,
had the big chop at the time. Yes.
yeah, yes. So let's kind of. I want to go back a little bit before that. You to kind of give people some context. You also were in the dentistry field, but you also are into real estate as well.
That
Talk
is
to me
correct.
about making the decision because I'm really interested in how people pivot, right? And
Yes.
what gave you the courage or the mindset to say, this is no longer where I want to be?
Well, I wouldn't say is dentistry is a place I no longer want to be. I think it's just that at this point in my life, I'm doing what gives me the most flexibility. Given
Mm,
that given that I have young children, it's important for me to be there for drop off, pick up, taking them to their different activities and so forth. So as it relates to getting into real estate, well, real estate is something that I have always been intrigued by. I love looking at homes, looking at the architecture and this, that, and the other. And so while working as a dentist, I obtained my real estate license and got into helping actually other doctors. There's
mm,
something called a doctor's loan in which my husband and I bought several properties through that program. And so as a starting doctor, I know what that's like trying to, buy your home, trying to get life started in general. And so
yeah.
it was important for me to share that knowledge with other doctors. And so that's what really led me into getting into real estate. Then fast forward, COVID happened, and as you know, my husband and I are both in dentistry, and we just felt like it was best for one of us to sort of stay at home and like sort of reduce the risk because dentistry involves a lot of aerosols, and so we just wanted to reduce the risk, not knowing that COVID was going to go on for such a long time. So during that COVID season, it actually allowed me to dig deeper into real estate, and oh my goodness, my business took off. I mean,
Wow.
I actually made more that year than I did as a dentist. And I'm like, well, hey, I'm making money and it's giving me the flexibility and I'm helping people. So, hey, why not?
Right. I love that.
So, yes.
I got into real estate as well, mostly to be a referral agent. Um,
Yes, that's
yo,
what it is.
why did it take me 5 times to pass that exam? That exam was no joke, but I am persistent and I don't stop.
Good for you. Good for you. I remember sitting in my real estate class and I'm thinking, oh, I'm a doctor. I've passed several board exams. I can do this. I can. And then next thing you know, I was like, this is like learning a whole different language. Let me pay attention.
It is. It really, really, really is. Speaking of like learning a whole new language, let's talk about being on reality TV because I think that you know there's you live your real life, right? But then there's reality TV. And
Right.
what I've learned from reality TV is there's what we see on the screen and then there's your actual filming reality. I want to know a little bit more about your filming reality. Were you as quiet as it seemed in the beginning?
Definitely not. You can ask anyone that knows me, they know that I am not a quiet person. So all my friends hit me up. I was like, we know you're not mute. And I'm like, of course I'm not. I don't know why they, muted me or cut out a lot of my scenes. I would have to believe that, it's a lot going on in 43
Yeah.
minutes. you have the OG story that you still have to tell. And then they brought in Sweet Tea, the new wife of Dr. Gregory and Quad's ex-husband, which was going to be a big story, right? And that's what we saw. And then Phaedra. Like, I don't even know, honestly, I don't even know why they brought me in this year. Because
I mean, when you
it was
put it in
no
that
way.
context, yeah, when you put it in that context, I mean, it's that there's a lot of new happening, and then
Yes,
there's a lot of new mixed with old, and you're
yes,
just sort of trying to figure that out. Can you
yes.
tell me from your vantage point? I want to know a couple of things. What did you make of the ladies dismissing Quad from the girls' trip to Napa? Because as a viewer, what we saw, I understood what they were saying to a certain degree, but I think watching it play out, it looked so bad. Were you saying anything, or were you just kind of shell shocked? What was your impression of that whole situation?
Yeah, I was completely shell shocked, but it was funny because the ladies, kind of talked to us, and they were just like, and, speaking of, I'm talking about T and they said
Okay.
that there was a lot that they had to dissect through that night, and it was important that they had these conversations with Quad. So it was important for us to kind of sit back and listen,
Mm,
and more importantly, we have not been there to witness or to experience the dynamics that or what has transpired, I should say, between the relationships between Quad and all of the rest of the ladies. So I certainly felt bad for Quad in that moment, but it was hard for me to like intercept because I don't know what all has happened. Obviously I've seen what happens on camera, but I'm sure there's a lot of things happening behind the camera. As I think Heavenly put out there, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that it seems as though they were fed up, and it was just they used that moment to come together to, I guess, tell her about herself. Now,
did
if
you?
it was me, I would have not left Napa. I don't know
Me
quite, but
neither. Okay,
I would have been
y'all
there.
want to make me
Okay,
leave.
okay. I don't have to film with you guys, but I'm gonna sip on this wine, honey. I'm gonna sip on this wine.
I was like, what? You actually gonna get on the plane and go? No.
Yes,
Y'all
yes.
gonna have to deal with me, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. But not knowing Quad and just human to human, right? I did send her a text that night after the fact and was just like, hey, are you okay? Now I didn't get a response, but hey, I did my part. But now I know why I didn't get a response because they had a whole nother scene that we were not involved in, and
Oh,
that's what you guys saw. You guys saw them coming, Simone, Heavenly, Toya, and Quad. They were in a room, and so she was involved in that scene at that point.
mm, mm, mm. What? Oh God, that was a very interesting episode. Leading
Yeah.
up to that, what did you make of, because you're kind of just really just getting to know everybody, it would seem. What did you make of the lady's interactions with Sweet Tea as she was being integrated up until, I would say, the point where she up until the point where they got married? I want to know up until that point. What was your impression of the dynamics?
Well, it was interesting because a lot of the things that she experienced, I was not there for. So, for
Mm,
instance, like the dress fitting, I saw that at the same time as you guys saw that. You know what I mean? So,
mm,
I did not get a chance to see that in person. But obviously, T and I, being new to the group, we have a very close relationship. And so, it was only sort of after the fact that we sort of went through all of those things. But in the midst of it, I was not able to really hear or understand her emotion, because it was just like so many things happening. We are just jumping into reality TV for the first time, and trying to um, uh, get into this group. And so it was just a lot going on. I have my small kids. We are trying to get settled, start new businesses. So it was hard for me to sort of focus on what was going on with her until after the fact, if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. There was something that I think Dr. Heavenly had mentioned about you and Toya having it out at the the memorial service, the uprising of
The resurrection, whatever we want to call it, right?
whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
What
Yes.
happened with that?
Yes. So, Toy, Toya, I don't know. She's hard for me to sort of understand. I would have liked to have a very, very, very close relationship with her. She likes the finer things in life, and so do I. So, I certainly wanted to connect on that. But Toya, she's very interesting, and I don't know. I think it's just her way of sort of I don't want to use the term hazing, but really testing you. You know what I mean? And
I
so
was
she
going to
started
ask you
reading.
that.
Yes, and so she started reading off some DMs and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just like, honey, what is the validity in your source? That's not a valid source. And so her and I had our exchange. Toy and I actually had a lot of exchange throughout the season, but you guys did not see it.
I know. I felt like we need an uncensored version of the season because
Right.
we got glimpses, I think, of Toya's sort of like, kind of
Poking.
a little bit, but
Yes.
I never really could see where it was coming from. So
Right.
I had to, with logic, deduce what you were saying, that it was kind of like maybe hazing to sort of see
Right.
like, oh, what has she got for us? You know what I'm saying? Like, can she stand on her own?
Exactly. Exactly.
What what do you make of? I gotta Before I get to what I'm about to ask you, I want to ask you. It seemed to me, like they was trying to make me, the audience, feel like your relationship is somehow archaic. And I never really understood why everybody else had a problem with it, because it seems like your husband is traditional, right? In a very traditional sense of the word, traditional.
Right. Right.
It would have, I think, to me, I would have been more affected by it if you were upset about it. Like if you
Exactly.
were lying to us about it. But to
Exactly.
me, it seemed like your relationship works.
It
So
does.
I didn't understand why everybody else had such a problem with it. Was it the training word? Was
I
that
think
it?
I believe so. I believe so. The
Okay.
well trained certainly got everyone in an uproar, and everyone wanted me to be upset about it. And I'm just like, I am not upset about it because first of all, I know that I am not well trained.
Well, I was gonna say that to
I
you
know that.
too.
But you guys don't
You,
know that. You guys didn't get a chance to see that. I
but
am a boss. I am a boss. I have taken a step back, primarily being a stay-at-home mom. I'm doing my real estate, that sort of thing. But honey, I have been working ever since I was 15. I was raised which I did mention on the show, I was raised by a single parent mom. And so with that, it lends itself to certain things that are instilled in you, right? And so I think I even mentioned, at first I had the attitude, I don't need a man because I was raised by a single parent mom, right? That's the message that is given to you. I'm not saying that's a good message, but that's the message that's passed on, right? And so I'm just like, I think it's so funny that people would even think, but that's because they don't really know me. You know what I mean? There's no way in hell I can be well trained.
but I didn't even get that impression as a viewer. Because you laughed it off. I was kind of like, okay, well, it's not that serious to her. We can move on.
It's
Like,
not. It's not because the important message here is, let me translate that for you. Well-trained means setting expectations. In any relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a co-working relationship, whether it's a marriage, you have to set expectations in order to get the most out of that relationship. So that's what my husband, in essence, is saying. And I'm not making an excuse, because I know someone's going to say that, oh, she's making an excuse. No, that's what it is. And I'm just like, I don't understand why people couldn't see that or couldn't understand that. How could I be trained? Come on now, like, really? So it's about setting expectations. And the same goes for my husband. I've set expectations for him. I expect him to pay all the bills, right? So he's well trained in paying these bills. That's right. So, but no, in all seriousness, it's just about setting expectations.
Okay. And it was like, to me, I felt like, well, first of all, I absolutely agree with you on that. I feel like you sometimes have to teach people how to love you in the way that you want to be loved, because we come into relationships from different standpoints. And so you may love each other, but there are still specific ways that you want to receive love in order for it to work for the distance. That's what I think. And that's the way I received it as well.
That's the reason why you have 5 different love languages. You have to figure that out. You know what I mean? And so for my husband, it's acts of service. So he likes for me to prepare his meal and have it ready for him. That's what he likes. And and that keeps a happy home. And so that's that. But all this people getting upset. I got so many messages and posts, people are saying that I'm setting women back. And I'm just like, are you serious right now? Like, come on. Like, you cannot confuse the woman in the household and the woman in the workplace. Hell, I want Michelle Obama to be president. So I'm not saying women don't go to the greatest height as possible. That don't confuse that with the woman in the household. There is an art, and I had to learn this. I only learned this recently. My husband and I would get into a daily argument because guess what? He was going to the office as a boss. I was going to the office as a boss. And then coming home, who's going to be the boss at home? And it was 2 bosses, and so it was just like every day. And then I had to learn. I was just like, okay, there's an art to allowing him to think that he's leading, right? that he's leading, but ultimately, I am doing everything. You know what I mean? But he thinks that it's an art to that, and women need to understand that. Like I said in the show, he's the head and I'm the neck. And then the head cannot turn without the neck. You have to understand that. So I think it was just important for people to see more of us so they could really understand that dynamic. But I want to say that I married my husband because of his traditional values. I really fell in love with the Nigerian culture. I love the fact that, they really look into like the meaning of their children's names. And that really is a process. Hence the reason why both of my children have Nigerian names. And so I loved all of that. I just really, really love the culture. And my husband and I both come from single parent upbringings. And so it was like we had to sort of write our own or construct our own blueprint for marriage. And so it certainly has been a process of learning because neither of us had that role model or that blueprint to see what it looks like to have a 2-parent household. And so that's something that, we have strived to, really put forth our best into making sure that we have a long-lasting marriage and now showing our children what that looks like. And so with that, you have to set expectations.
Yeah, I was about to say, I look at marriage and relationships as like a dance, right? And at different points in times, you have to you learn to let one person lead when you need to, because you can't. Because that's how I think about it. Because I can't be concerned about everything. So if these are the things that you want to lead in, fine. have at it. I love it. So I think that works.
Exactly. I think my husband mentioned during the reunion is 51-49. But what I didn't get a chance to say is that it's not always that he's the 51.
That's the
Sometimes
key.
I'm the 51. And so
Mhm.
people have to understand that and not just jump. You only got a chance to see snippets of
Mm.
our relationship or our family dynamics.
Yeah, I felt like there was some missing elements to the equation. Speaking of missing, Dr. Alicia, we gonna talk about this $150,000 real quick. Uh,
Oh, I knew that was going to come up.
Listen, only because it was mentioned on the show, I wouldn't even because I try not to be nobody's pockets, but because it was mentioned. Now, did you just put that money away on the side for say keep it?
No, I'm not hiding it for an escape or nothing like that.
I just meant for your own part. I need to go buy a purse or something like that. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, as I said, I did spend all the children's activities, my daughter's private school education and all of her piano and tennis and all of that. And I did also invest in crypto. I did not mention that, but I did also invest in crypto as well.
Well, I understand that.
Exactly.
You should have led with that because I felt like everybody in the audience would have got it. Yeah. Oh, got it. Mark, thank you. That would have cleared that thing right on up.
But see, if people understood this head neck situation, see the fact that I could have $150,000 missing.
I need to ask you, what are your thoughts about, Dr. Heavenly gets a lot of flack for her blogs, right?
Yes.
Now, as a viewer, it'd be great for me because
I know y'all love it. I know y'all love it.
What's going on now? How do you receive it as a cast member?
It was hard at first. It was certainly hard, but now even within just 1 year, I understand. She keeps the agenda going, and she's very, very good at it. Now, I have to call her out because her and I talk most mornings. I'll call her up at 8 o'clock in the morning, like on her drive to the office, and like, now look, now I didn't quite like that you said it like that. But I meant. Or she'll quickly get off the phone. Oh, it's just something when she knows I'm really mad. I gotta go.
But you know what? That's interesting, though. I think that says something about why she's able to still maintain such relationships, because you just stated something like y'all talk in the mornings. Like that's I feel like maybe what the ladies have been missing from Quad, right? Is that when the cameras are not on, we still talking. Whether I'm mad at you or not, I'm gonna call you if I'm mad at you.
Right.
And I feel like that is what makes this show very different from a lot of other shows. Y'all talk.
Yes, absolutely.
Who do you talk to the most?
That would be T, Heavenly, and Phaedra.
Now, do you think if you're talking to T and Heavenly the most, what is it gonna take to get these two on the same page? They in different books.
Lord knows I have been trying. Lord knows I've been trying. And that's why, because I'm in the middle, that's why I had to setting expectations. So I had to tell T, now I'm still gonna talk to Heavenly. and Heavenly, I don't really have to say anything. She doesn't care. She knows I talk to T. But I've been trying. But it's just right now, it's just so much hurt and pain and madness that we're not quite there yet.
What are your thoughts on? I want to ask you a couple of just your thoughts on each cast member real quick before we go. What are your thoughts on Phaedra? We know her from Housewives, right? And so when we get to see her on Married to Medicine, we like, now wait a second. And now I have an expectation for Phaedra, okay? Because I've seen her on TV. I know her works. And I'm like, oh, is she working? Or is she just showing up in Chanel? What's going on? Give me your thoughts.
Well, I think that people have to also give her grace. Like, even though she's been on television for a long time, this is still very much a new group for her. She has to, develop those relationships, understand, and I think so. Although she's been on TV, this is still a new group. This is still a new group for her. That's my take. Yeah.
I think that's fair because in real life, it would take a minute to integrate into a new group. What are your thoughts on the dynamic between Dr. Simone and Dr. Jackie? Because it seems from a viewer perspective, I like both of them. Like, I think Simone is crazy. I feel like not crazy in a bad way. She thrills me when she get to yelling. So, but I feel like the relationship between she and Dr. Jackie is so fraught with an undercurrent of tension that they can't really even have an honest conversation without fear of something tripping them and sending them back. Is that me just reading it through the screen wrong, or what's your thought on that?
I think I would concur with your observation on that. But again, I haven't been up close and personal with them. So, if I'm being completely honest, I've watched them just like you watched them, right? Prior to joining the show. And so, I'm wondering if there's some, things like, just sort of behind the scenes, things that we don't know. Or is it really this? And I hate to put it out there like that because I don't want to say that Simone would be jealous of Jackie's relationship with Heavenly, but and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but I think a conversation needs to be had, and they need to be honest about their feelings there.
Yeah, it seems like they are both tiptoeing around something in an effort to not go backwards, and I just feel like until they have that conversation, they're not going to be able to just. And maybe they listen. I think that they're probably very, very close, but I still think that there's something there that we saw because seeing you, because even you were passionate about, girl, you could have changed this trip location.
Right.
We saw. I was just rewatching the episodes today because I wanted to kind of see the moments where I felt like you were really in it. And I felt like that was a moment where you were really like very passionate about that.
Yeah, I felt very strongly about that because, Simone will be the first to say that we've been friends, in her falsetto voice. We've been friends for 20 years. We've been friends for 20 years, this, that, and the other. And so if that's the case, then if you had any inkling, and like I said at the reunion, whether it came from Heavenly or not, Simone's thing was that she wanted to hear it directly from Jackie, but she should know after 20 years, I've learned this already, that Jackie is probably not going to be direct in saying anything to her because Jackie has to be the strong woman. I feel, this is my opinion, the strong woman, and maybe it's hard for her to break down and say that, I'm bothered by this or this hurts me, and so maybe it was a barrier that she didn't want to cross. And so I'm sorry, if Simone heard it from Heavenly or whomever she heard it from, if this is your friend of 20 years, have the conversation and consider changing the trip. Definitely.
Yeah.
Because that's her defense. That's her defense every time. We've been friends for 20 years. And so if that's the case, then be in tune to your friends' feelings and, move forward accordingly.
What were your thoughts real quick on the blow up between Sweet Tea and Dr. Jackie? I think because we did not see technically a big build up to it. Did you see it coming?
It's funny because, I tried to stop it. I don't know if you caught that. I was like,
I
no,
did.
T, no. What I feel that that interaction was not warranted towards Jackie. And Jackie was just there in the moment that it came to a head for T. I think
Mm,
it was a build up of everything that had happened to T up until this point. She thought Heavenly was her friend, and she brought on the show, and then now you are talking about me behind my back, or doing this, that, and the other, and you guys are body shaming me. This, all the things that transpired up until that point, and it's just so. And then I think Jackie, not think Jackie did say some things, but the emotions, the outbursts, I don't think was for Jackie, if that makes sense. I
mm,
think it was build
makes
up
sense.
of everything, like from everyone,
Yeah.
and Jackie just got it, unfortunately.
Okay. So my question for you as we close this out is everybody wants to know, and everybody also including I, me, he, will you be coming back? Do you want to come back for another season?
I would love to come back. You guys did not see Dr. Alicia and Dr. Kimma. We have so much to show you guys. There's a lot. There's a story that I want to tell that I'm hoping that will be therapeutic to others. That's the point of me coming onto the show, right? I want people to see that, just because you're a doctor, that doesn't mean that you are perfect or that you had this perfect beginning. And I want to share that. I want people to see or understand from the start and to now. And so, yes, the official notice will come out soon, but, we'll see.
Ooh.
Well, I don't, it'll be coming out at some point.
Okay. Well, Dr. Alicia, I think for me, I wanted to also make sure I did my part to, you know, in whatever way that I could, A, to support the show because I love it. And then B, I just, again, wanted to get to know you better and allow the community to get to know you better as well, because I feel like, I understand the way that the story kind of works. And sometimes it works in a way that you aren't necessarily at the focal point, because there was so much happening in the beginning. And then they kind of like pushed you in a little further, like more in the end. But I do think that coming back another season, I think you would be given a lot more to say and do for what we can see. So I just want to do my part to make sure that that happens. So
I appreciate you.
no problem. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this, because I know, you got the things going on, especially at this time. And you came in looking fabulous. I want to say thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. Barely had my lashes on, but thank you.
Dr. Alicia, tell
so
us
much.
people where they can find you.
Oh, please follow me at Dr. Alicia Egelum on Instagram. I think that's all of my handles, actually. Also follow
Okay.
Alicia Egelum Group, my real estate page.
Awesome. I will have that information in the description of this video so that they know exactly where to go. And with that being said, Skye Squad, we will catch you in the next one. Dr. Alicia, thank you so much. You look amazing.
Thank
And
you. And thank you, Skye Squad. Thank you so
yes,
much.
we are ready for season 11.
Absolutely. Oh, that's going to be very interesting.
I cannot wait.